Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great, hope you had a great week so far, and maybe if you're from the east it's already almost weekend, so happy weekend. But in this video I wanted to do a quick analysis here this morning on Bitcoin. We'll talk about what you need to know. Today is bound to be quite volatile. Now so far the opening doesn't really suggest that. If you take a look at Bitcoin itself, and at the open, you can see the open right here was within balance, or within the balance that we made yesterday. So that's pretty good, and the opening is also relatively wide compared to the opening we had on Friday, which we could have already known back then that it was bound to be a volatile day. But no, I mean, yesterday we found some nice balance right here around the POC at 96,500. That's where most of the volume was traded, which you can also see right here, and we're still within that, right? So in that sense, technically I'd say stability is to be expected, but then obviously, I mean, this move yesterday that we had was quite volatile. We left some imbalances to the downsides that act as a bit of a magnet, right? So the price can push down into those. Spike back up, and that would in itself already be quite volatile. But then today we also have some news, which I'll try to live stream. I have to do some other stuff in the afternoon as well, but I think I'll make it work. But today we have unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls, right? So in general, it's a bit tricky, this data. Non-farm payroll days are always volatile in the general financial markets. What we want to see, but I will talk about this in the afternoon as well, what we want to see is non-farm payrolls be lower than expected and the unemployment rates to be higher than expected. However, in the light of the current data, with the GDP data, for example, earlier this week, I'm not sure if we really do want that, right? Because normally what you say is you want bad economic data, so that the interest rates can go down, and that quantitative easing is put on the table again, because at this point of time we're still seeing quantitative tightening, which is bearish for the financial markets, or at least there's the money supply is less. So therefore, it's a bit of a thin balance on what we want. Like, do we want more chances of interest rate cuts, or do we want a healthy US economy? Both have their upsides and their downsides, but that's going to be very interesting. Taking a look at Bitcoin right now, though, the local resistance seems to be around 97,000. And we're pulling back a little bit here in the EU session, and in the Asian session, basically we're flat with a move up, move down. I think it's most likely we will still test this imbalance right here between 96,000 and 95,400. So in general, I'd say short term a bit of a pullback here is quite likely. For now, I do think we'll hold that. Yesterday we got a lot of strength again in the markets. The S&P 500 is also still holding very well at resistance. Like, yes, we pulled back a little bit yesterday in the afternoon, but this pullback compared to the strength of the resistance that we're at is very mild, all right? And I would actually see that as relatively bullish and as a relatively strong indication. So therefore, I'd say it's most likely we will pull back, but for now I do think, as long as the fundamentals are like they are right now, and that will depend on the news, of course, but I expect us to bounce, stay in the stability, and I would still say it's most likely that we will see a continuation up to 98, 99,000. I would say that's most likely until otherwise is proven. And I'll try to be one of the first to tell you when otherwise is proven. Could be with the news, but like I said, I'll try to live stream during that. I'll try to keep you updated in general. But that's it for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos. Hopefully I'll see you in the live stream, and have a great weekend in advance. Bye.